Many thanks for staying with us. You're still on TMI Thursday morning. With me in the studio this morning is my senior colleague, Sonny Duke Okoso. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
You're looking all white. I mean, you're just already in the mood of the Valentine.
Of course. That was why I put this touch of red this morning. You're looking good as well.
Thank you.
I like your tailor is in Benin, I guess.
Yes.
Okay, maybe you introduce me to him then.
Of course, definitely.
All right. On this week's segment, we'll be looking at building a more secure Nigeria using technology. Sonny, what's your take on this?
Yeah, I mean, it's long overdue, particularly with the fact that the security problems confronting us as a nation is becoming hydra-headed. If I say it's becoming hydra-headed, it's not an understatement. It's already hydra-headed because day in, day out, the number of deaths associated with
So the increase.
So the increase. I mean, you look at the statistics that are coming out, you look at the numbers that are coming out, really frightening. In Kaduna State, you're talking about thousands of people
Thousands.
that have been killed. I saw a report recently where the UNODC said about 8,000 children have been indoctrinated by Boko Haram, using them to prosecute the war.
In the northern parts.
In the northeast.
Northeast, to be specific.
So
okay.
it gives you an insight into how damaging the problem has been. Yesterday, I was very, very proud to be a Nigerian. I was very proud of our security agents, the police, the army, particularly on this Benin Auchi Ekpoma road.
That's true.
For their gallantry, for their hard work, for their commitment and dedication.
They've gone down 3 headsmen.
Yes, yesterday.
Killer headsmen.
Yes, and that was quite striking. I recall that earlier in the day, somebody sent me a video of the fact that these guys, they've laid siege on the road, and that there was already an exchange of gunfire between the
military
and these bad guys, these kidnappers on the road. I mean, from the video, the background, you could literally hear sounds of gunshots and stuff like that. Then I was really, really concerned, and the guy was giving more or less like a live report of what was happening, because no vehicle was going, none was coming. They got to a particular point and they were stuck there, and then other vehicles came and they met them. They were all there, but from the sound of gunshots that was coming, it could tell you that something serious was going on.
Fierce battle.
It was a fierce battle. But at the end of the day, it was really gratifying that the security agents prevailed, and they should always prevail.
That's true.
And we pray that they continue to prevail. And then, with that achievement yesterday, it's a moral booster. Victory is a moral booster.
That's true.
It tends to increase your adrenaline level for you to want to go out there and do more. And so I want to commend them for living up to expectations, making us feel proud, making Nigerians feel proud, and then bringing some sanity to that road. I mean, those guys who orchestrated that action yesterday, you can be rest assured that there is disorganization, there's this confusion in their midst, in their camp right now. There is no doubt that some of them would have even sustained bullet wounds and stuff like that.
They may have been dislodged by now.
Dislodged by now. So we just hope that we can lap up on what was recorded yesterday, and they have more gains. I mean, there are several communities, even in Edo South, that are having similar problems. We can't forget in a hurry the plight of Abomere community and those communities that are on that axis, what their plight has been in the last couple of days.
And even Uzeba, Awiosi, Aziz, in West.
So it's still the same thing. It's still the same thing. So it brings us to the subject of our interaction.
Technology.
Technology, that's the way to go, because people will always want to breach the law. And as the society develops, so also everything about the society develops. The criminals also develop. They look for new ways, new strategies, new technologies to evade the structures of ensuring there is sanity in the society. That's why you have laws. That's why you have order. Laws are meant to instill order in a society, so that those who run foul of these laws, they will be brought to book. And the way the world is, technology is the order of the day.
Very true.
I mean, technology, that's what you need. When you deploy technology, then you can be rest assured that, I mean, if you look at what's happening globally, US, NATO, and Europe on one side, Russia on the other side. Those who are funding these ambassadors, what are they relying on? It's not blow. It's not physical strength. It's not muscles. It is technology.
Technology is being in place.
Yeah, that is coming. That will be brought to bear if eventually a war breaks out, as it were. We pray that doesn't happen.
That takes me back. Sorry to cut you there.
Yes.
That takes me back to the Senate. I saw in the headlines where they say they are shocked that despite the fact that bandits have been declared as terrorists, they are shocked.
Yes.
So what's your take on this?
Shocked in what sense? They're shocked that...
Surprised.
Yeah, why are they surprised?
The fact that they have been declared terrorists, they are still in operation.
Well, I think there's someone who has a very deep insight about these guys, is Sheikh Ahmad Gumi, who has been... some have accused him in different forums of being an apologist, of being a front runner for them, yeah, or being an image maker for them, and stuff like that. He went on to say, look, whether these guys are declared terrorists or not, it won't change anything. It's just a change in name, you know, but their modus operandi remains. Their style of operation remains.
That's true.
The kidnappings, the killings, destruction of lives and property, it will still continue. That we need to engage these people, but I disagree with him totally.
Okay.
Yes, I disagree with him totally, because what these guys need is a very, very, very strong, you know, engagement, not in terms of discussion. You bring the full weight of military power, bring it against them, based on technology. Because that's the focus of our discussion.
Yes, of course.
We need to infiltrate their camps, get people that will bring information, and with those information, you can track where they are. This guy, Bello Turji, who has been on the wanted list of security agents, has been terrorizing Zamfara State, the main kidnap kingpin in Zamfara State. Yes. And they also control swaths of Sokoto State and other states. Yes, with the force that was brought against him, we were told that he had to relocate to Niger State. Now, my concern with that is, when you carry out an operation in location A, you should anticipate that there are those that may want to escape and go to location B. So what strategy do you have to cordon off those areas so that those who are escaping can be, you know, caught? That's where technology comes into play. So
do you think the information system of our military is being compromised?
Well, there is no way that is not a possibility, even though they will always come out to deny it in one way. It's a very huge possibility against the background of how these guys operate. Many times, Bello Turji, in one of the video that was online, even though I could not really confirm independently if that was same, but he went on to say that, look, before the bombs are dropped, we already know when they are coming, how they are coming. Yes, it was uploaded. They already know when they are coming, how they are coming, where they are coming from. So most times before the bombs are dropped, we leave. They will just, victims will now be civilians and stuff like that. When somebody talks like that, you can tell that, you know, he has confidence of insider information channel. All right. There's this other guy, Wadume, who was terrorizing Taraba State and stuff like that. You can see the conflict that came up between the army and the IGP special force that went to arrest him. They were killed, and we just zeroed that in, or swept that under the carpet, that it was communication breakdown.
Who shielded him,
yes, the captain shielded was exonerated. Till tomorrow, nobody knows exactly what has happened to those guys. That's true. So you see, then you also have this supremacy battle, interagency supremacy fight between these security agents. That's also a huge, huge problem. And that's why you see these things is, you know, taking a different dimension. Then you have the locals in those environments where these guys operate. They have been subjected to untold hardship in their hands to the point that they have become voiceless. Anyone who gives information and they get to know about it,
the life will be at stake.
The life will be at stake. And then you also find instances where these guys give succor to those communities. There's what they call ungoverned spaces. Many ungoverned spaces exist in Nigeria, whether in the south, in the north, in the east, or in the west. You can just see swaths of lands, no government presence.
Mostly in the north.
It's still there even in the south. No government presence, no road, no light, no water, no infrastructure, nothing whatsoever. So when you have such systems in place, it becomes a very
dwellers there.
Yes, it becomes, even if you don't have dwellers there, it becomes a veritable ground for people who are non-state actors to just take advantage of those space and then begin to use it to their advantage and then hold the states to ransom. That's exactly what is playing out. So, because I know some time ago, I think it was Ali Undume, Senator Ali Undume in Borno State who brought this issue out, that, in Borno State, many of these communities, many of these places, they are unreachable, they are inaccessible. Take, for example, the much talked about Sambisa Forest. You know that during rainy season you can't access it.
That's true.
You can't access it. But during dry season, because everywhere is dry, you can see ahead, no grasses, no mud and stuff like that, movement becomes relatively easier. So these are challenges that needs to be dealt with the use of technology.
All right, now that brings me now to the next question.
Yeah.
I read the news one time that since 2015, the police tracking devices subscription has expired.
Yes.
And it has not been working.
Yes.
So don't you think it's also a great setback?
Of course, it's a setback, a huge setback at that, when you look at it from the point of view that in today's technology rules the world, particularly in fighting insecurity. The success of America, Britain, France, and other developed countries when it comes to fighting insecurity is based on technology, is based on access to technology, deployment of technology. So if a technology that is as simple as tracking device has broken down and it has not been fixed, so what are you going to do?
This is coming from a major player.
Yes, yes. So you are handicapped. You are handicapped in the sense that when people bring those complaints, there's little or nothing you can do. And then it brings us to the question of the votes for security. How is it being judiciously deployed? Is it being used in such a way and manner that we can get results? If you look at the tracking device that has gone down now, what effort is being made?
Because of subscription.
Yes. So what effort is being made to reactivate it? So how come it's been done for so long and nobody is doing it? So these are the issues that we need to
you have
engage.
ICT experts.
Yes.
In the force.
Of course, they are there. And the way the civil service operates, until you are told to do, you don't do nothing. If you do it, it becomes an offense. And your boss will probably use that against you, victimize you, and do all kinds of things against you. So these are some of the issues that we see every now and then. Until that we muster the right political will, and then the people take ownership in the fight against insecurity. Okay. All right? And then we put the right framework in place to boost the confidence of our security agents, payment of allowances, and insurance policy. Then we'll just be going around in circles, because nobody, even if you say the man has signed to die for his country, we have had stories of deserters in the army.
Very true.
Yeah. Why? Because yeah, there's a guy that is my friend on Facebook. Every day I pray for him. He's in the army, and every time when they get to a particular place, they leave every day. They live for every day, because you don't know. Maybe in that case you could.
You say they live every day with death in view.
Of course, that's the point. Because if you survive today, all right, and then you give God thanks and
for seeing another day.
For seeing another day. But when you get to the epicenter of where all of these things are going on, you probably will not be thinking of living for an hour, because you can't tell what's going to happen the next minute. There was a very painful story I read not too long ago. A guy who was in the army, he spent 17 years. I mean, BBC Pidgin actually interviewed him and his wife to hear their own side of the story, to hear their story.
The guy that was dismissed.
Was dismissed. Very painful story. And he has gotten judgment from a competent court, a court of competent jurisdiction. Is yet to be implemented. But the story, this is the story that I want to talk about. They were assigned to go to a particular location to engage these terrorist guys. And then the strategy was that there is a ground component and then there is an air component. Because from the intelligence that they've gotten, the guys were large in numbers, and then secondly, they were all heavily armed. So if you're going to engage such guys, you must go with superior firepower. That was the information at their disposal. And they felt that, well, because there's going to be an air component in the operation, I mean, this is a done deal. All we are going to do, we'll go for a clearance operation. The air component will go ahead of us, hit those guys hard. Then in the midst of that confusion, we come in and then we clear the place out. But
that was the initial.
That was the plan. They had gotten to where they are supposed to be before they launch their own clearance operation. But what was supposed to be a clearance operation now became the main operation. So what happens? They were waiting for the air component to come. It never came. And our commander said, look, guys, this is what we are paid for. This is what we signed for. We're going to go out and take these guys out. Take these guys out. I mean, that's like a death warrant. That's like a suicide mission. But, you know, in the military, is obey before complain.
Obey the last command. Obey before complain.
Yes, you just once you are told, once you are asked to move, you move. And so they went all out into the confrontation, and those guys already had information. They laid ambush. They had information about them, and then they laid ambush. And the guy said on that day, about 38 to 50 men lost their lives. That was unnecessary. It was avoidable. That's the right word. It was avoidable. The question was, why didn't the air component part of this show up? Why didn't they show up? How come we were not made to go the whole hog in dealing with these guys? And then they had to regroup. He said the following morning, he felt betrayed by his bosses and that he was very angry that these guys that we lost, that were lost in this operation, I mean, these deaths were avoidable. We already knew the location of these guys. We already knew that they were heavily armed. We already knew that they were in large numbers. Why go into the attack? Why don't we retreat, re-strategize, and then maybe go out another day?
This is where technology now comes in.
This is where technology now comes in. All right? This is where technology now comes in. But the long and short of it is that on their parade ground in the morning, he asked the question, why didn't the air component show up? So his other guys were infuriated too. They were angry, so they started shooting. So before he knew what was happening, he was accused of leading a mutiny. He was accused against the commander that he instigated his other guys to kill the commander. From one step to another, one detention camp to another, one arrest to another. He was court-martialed. At the end of the day, he was sentenced to death or something like that, you know. But Femi Falana, SAN, took up the matter and was able to get justice for them. So now you can see from this story some of the weaknesses in our operation. Why you find people saying that, look, they believe that there are some, there's a fifth columnist in all of these operations, security operations that goes on. There are insiders who provide information to these guys. Sometimes the security agents, there is no synergy. And because there is no synergy, there is confusion in their midst. And then the bad guys will always explore all of these loopholes, all of these gaps within the security architecture. And that's why you have this problem.
This now take me now back to this question.
Yeah.
You find out that people upload things online and they are being tracked.
Yeah.
Ordinary citizens.
Yeah.
Maybe they say something against the government.
Yeah.
And they are being tracked and persecuted and all that.
Yeah.
But you find out that these terrorists upload their videos, say things they want to say online.
Yeah.
And it gets viral. And nobody is doing anything about it.
Well, we've got to look at it from two ways. To say nobody is doing anything about it may not be true, because you recall that the special IGP team that was headed by DCP Ambakari, who is now been removed, and another person in charge, they had tremendous success stories. I mean, even if you look at the profile of Ambakari, who is now, who has been removed from that duty, you see the scores of, you know, achievement recorded, all right? All these were based on tracking of information available online, all right? But I think we need to do more. We need to do more. We need to expand the technological space. We need to expand the technological approach to dealing with insecurity if we must make any headway.
Okay.
Yeah.
You find out that in most of our government agencies, we have CCTVs.
Mm-hmm.
Even in their houses, they have CCTV
Yes.
installed.
Yes.
What happens to the road, the streets?
Yeah.
When you're entering a state, you find out that from the entrance to the main city, there is no CCTV present.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because when you go abroad, this is a common thing. For every movement you make, there's a camera, you know, positioned to capture everybody. So in the event of any incident happening,
There's a record.
there's a footage that you can go into to analyze and pick. That's why you find that a terrorist strikes in one particular place. Before you know what's happening, all of a sudden, the picture is out, the video is out. His last stop, the last place he stepped into, you get the video, the time. And so from there, you can even predict where likely his direction will be. And then you start making some arrangement towards that direction. Back home, that is non-existent because our leaders just think that, you know, we can still continue to fight insecurity using the old method. They say madness is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. It's not going to work. If you want to achieve results better than what you used to have, you must change the approach. You must change the strategy. We are now talking about technology. There's nothing wrong. In Edo State, for example, we should have CCTV. Yeah, there's nothing wrong.
In all the local government.
We should have CCTV. The state government has commenced the Light Up Edo campaign project. Yeah, this should also go with CCTV because what makes people to participate, what makes business to thrive, particularly even at night, is that level of security. But it brings me to the vigilante strategy that has been adopted. You can see that in Edo State is working effectively and efficiently. Throughout the Christmas period, we barely heard of any story of an attack or something.
It was reduced to the barest
minimum. What does that tell you? Security is local. Security is localized. Security is a local activity. Whether it's a kidnapping that is taking place, whether it's armed robbery, whatever name you want to call it, is localized. So if you have the local people buy into it, that's the first step. That can only happen when the local people have confidence in the structures that you're using to deploy. I mean, structures that you deploy to tackle insecurity.
Okay. If you're just joining us, you're still on TMI Thursday. We'll be back after this timeout. Don't go away.
TMI, every opinion counts.
Many thanks for staying with us. We have been looking at how to use technology to tackle the current security issues in the country. And of course, I have with me in the studio my very senior colleague, Mr. Sonny Duke Okoson.
Yeah.
Okay, before we went on break,
yeah,
you were saying something. Okay, now, the current situation in the country,
yeah,
how do you think technology can help?
Well, I think technology is the in thing, is the way to go. Before the break, we talked about the need to deploy CCTV cameras and then drones.
Okay.
Yeah, drones. Security drones are also in use now to track and map areas. Okay. Those drones are equipped with some special devices.
Without physical presence.
Without physical presence. You don't even notice that they are in the air, they are mapping the areas, gathering information, and then at a particular time they come back to base, you download those information, start analyzing them. It gives, yes, it gives you a picture of what's happening in a particular environment and stuff like that. I mean, recall that I think it was last year, America killed one of the generals who was operating in Iraq on behalf of the Iranian government. Wow. It was a drone attack. All right, so it tells.
Bin Laden himself was struck.
Yes, he was struck until eventually he was killed. So when there is sincerity of purpose, and then there is a collaboration, proper coordination, commitment, dedication, you have a situation wherein you ensure that salaries and allowances and welfare of the workers are adequately taken care of, then that would boost the morale. Then you can be rest assured that all of these challenges will be drastically reduced. Now let's also even look at it from the flip side. Those who are carrying arms and ammunition, taking up arms against the state, they also have their grievances. So when we go out against them to bring them to justice, others will learn. But the unfortunate thing is that because at the time this whole issue started, it was being painted in a different light. That's how the name bandits came. Rather than call it what it is, we're giving them names. We're trying to color it and simplify it. Make it look like it wasn't really that serious. I mean, this is not a very serious thing. It's just some bad boys misbehaving in the neighborhood. We're going to take care of them.
That's true.
We're going to put them in check.
Someone came up one time and was he was like just like we have Agbero in the
yes.
North, these ones they are like Agbero in the North.
That's the point.
Okay.
You know, so that coloration initially made it impossible for people to give the appropriate attention to these guys. But unknown to many Nigerians, these guys were hardened criminals, sponsored criminals. We've even heard people saying that these guys were actually armed, you know, paid, all in a bid to destabilize a former government in power.
Very true.
Okay, but at the end of the day, the former president was smart. He sensed everything that was coming and decided to say, guy, there's no problem. No Nigerian's blood is what my presidency. So for that reason, I concede to you. Now, after conceding, these guys had these arms and ammunition. All the promises that were made to them,
they were abandoned.
They were abandoned. And so they had to take up arms against the state. It's quite unfortunate that this way. And those who were responsible for all of, they are still living with us today.
That's true.
Many of them now, their political ambitions have been truncated. You don't hear them talking about being president anymore because they cannot even take care of their state. So it's quite sad. When we see, you know, it's like...
I know you don't want to mention him right now.
Yeah, no, I don't want to mention him because it's there in the public space already. But there's something I was trying to say. You know, many a times when something is happening to your neighbor, don't feel unconcerned. Okay. Because that thing could escalate to you. Imagine your neighbor's house is on fire and your house is next to your neighbor's house and you don't show any interest. When the flame escalates, your house could be the next.
That's true.
It's like when this whole bandits started, terrorism started. The impression is that, oh, it's happening in the north. In fact, years back, when you hear of suicide bombing, we hear that in Afghanistan, Iraq, Baghdad, Somalia, and all of those countries. But it is right here in Nigeria. And then when these bandits started, people were saying, oh, it's in the north, let them be killing themselves. And they don't realize that, you know, there is that level of fluidity in a movement. When the attacks becomes more severe, these guys will look out for safer places to stay, to have a safe haven, to continue to continue their operation. Yes, and launch attack, do the things that. So we need to look at it from a collective perspective that we are all stakeholders in this country, and that we also need to put ourselves in there and ensure that we work together as a people to nip it in the bud. I served in the north. I spent 1 year in the north. Yeah. I used to shuttle between Yobe State and Borno State, that is Potiskum in Yobe State and Meduguri.
I don't think if you can try that now.
Of course you can try that. Potiskum, the place where we had our orientation camp, the day Boko Haram went there, I know a number of people that died. I served there in 1998.
Years later.
That's years later. Look at how those places have been. I mean, I used to travel by road going to Yobe State. It's like 24 hours journey.
That's true.
I leave Ekboma, Ewu Junction, stop by in Kano to Kaduna, Bauchi,
even from Abuja,
Jigawa,
it's almost a day's journey.
and then you just go like that. It's such a beautiful sight. You can't do that anymore because you are scared of either you being kidnapped or Boko Haram could hold you and pick you up for ransom. So it's quite sad. We need to look at fighting insecurity as a collective responsibility.
Somebody humorously said Boko Haram or terrorists they have phased out armed robbery now. You hardly even see armed robbers on the road.
Yeah, I mean, there was a joke I saw. It was a comedy skit I saw online. Someone, they were armed robbers. They will lead them on the road and say, bring your money or your life. And when the guy saw them, he came out and looked at them and said, armed robbers, wow. I want to take a selfie with you. We don't used to see you people again. No. Bandit has taken over. That's just on the lighter side.
Okay, so on a final note, where do you think the government is missing it when it comes to technology and curbing insecurity?
Funding. Yeah, we need to step up funding. I mean, I was just listening to one of the Navy general who bowed out of service a few days ago. These are some of the issues that raised. Then we also need to monitor how these funds are being spent.
I was about to say that.
Judiciously spent to ensure that we get the right. Because every now and then you hear of things about, we don't have enough equipment, blah, blah, blah,
this
stuff
money
like
is being released.
Yeah, and this money is supposedly are being released. Then, when you say the monies are being released, how much is released? At what time? These are, say, some issues that needs to be sorted out.
All right, thank you very much.
All right.
I think that's all we can take on this segment. Please don't go away. We'll be back after this time out. Thank you.